I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you have fallen off track with your goals mid-year, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're unmotivated or lacking discipline, it's because you don't have the right systems, friend. If you feel like you're doing all the things and still not seeing results, I got you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how the 12-week year works and how to use it to finally start hitting your goals, even if you're overwhelmed, inconsistent, or just stuck. I'm Dr. Tiffany Shelton Mariol, neuropsychologist, author, and founder of Mod Ambition. And over the last decade, I've helped hundreds of women turn their dreams into reality. To start, let me show you the hidden mistake that is killing your goals. So imagine running a race with no finish line in sight. How fast would you really go without a finish line? Most people fail at their goals not because they're not capable, but because the time frame is either too long or too vague. The crucial mindset shift the 12-week year uses is to go from annual thinking to period thinking when it comes to your goals. The 12-week year turns your year into 4 focused sprints. Every 12 weeks equals a new year, which creates urgency, it creates focus, and it creates that momentum that you need. So you no longer wait until December to panic and then plan all your goals. Want proof? When you dive into the research within achievement psychology, here's what studies have proven when it comes to 90-day goals versus yearly goals. When it comes to companies using quarterly goals reported 31% higher returns on investments compared to annual goal setting. Also, research has shown that in volatile environments, annual plans often become irrelevant at the mid-year point, and 90-day cycles help pivot quickly. This is because regular quarterly reviews help adjust strategies quickly. Studies show these sort of feedback loops in the 90 days reviews enhance persistence, reduce procrastination, and refine your action plan. Also, 90-day planning bridges long-term vision and everyday action, creating urgency and momentum with regular reviews. But urgency isn't enough. If you don't know where you're headed, you're still running circles. So take Jess, for example. Jess just started a new business and had more ideas than she had time. When she discovered the 12-week year, it lit her up, finally, a way to move faster, to move smarter. She poured herself into trying to reach her 90-day goals. Week 1, she sprinted. Week 2, she sprinted harder. By week 6, she was tired and burned out and depleted. Tasks were everywhere. Progress was really nowhere. And with Jess, it wasn't a discipline problem, it wasn't a motivation problem, it was a direction problem. Because if you think of hustle as water, clarity is the funnel. Without a funnel, energy spreads and effort leaks, nothing really fills. But with clarity to funnel your vision, your why, that same hustle gets channeled into efficiently getting things done. So you don't need more hustle, you need to aim it. And you do that by first shaping the funnel, then hustle with intention. So here's how the authors of the 12-week year teach to clarify. Use your vision to define your why and use this why to filter every single goal that you set. In my Mod Ambition Planner printable, it includes an entire goal planner at the beginning with the sole purpose of helping you get clear on your vision and your goals using achievement psychology. Because I don't just believe in planning for planning's sake, I believe we should intentionally get things done in service of our grandest vision. And to clarify these next steps, let me draw this out for you. So, after you've done the conscious work to clarify your values and define your why, I want you to set what I call your sun goals. And these are your big dream goals, so the dream and that quantum leap. So you're going to set these sun goals. These are what I call sun goals, but they're your 5 to 10 year goals. But I also want you to then set your moon goals to help you get to the sun goals. And these moon goals are going to give you life-changing progress. And those are your 1 to 3 year goals that are going to help move you towards your sun goals, those 5 to 10 year goals. And it's important that you don't skip this. Goals without vision equals productivity without purpose. Okay, so now that you have that vision marked by your values, your sun goals, and your moon goals, once you have that locked in, it's time to learn the secret to actually making progress week after week. Because here's the thing, trying to make your vision a reality is kind of like walking toward the horizon. If If you only stare at the horizon, you're going to trip. But if you focus on your steps, you'll make real progress. Traditional goal setting tells you to aim for outcomes, but the 12-week year says focus on what you can control. But how do we do that? Introducing lag versus lead goals. Lag goals are the outcome: lose 10 pounds, get 10,000 followers. Lead goals are the actions that get you there, such as work out 3 times a week or post 5 times a week. So here's how to create these for yourself. Identify your top 1 to 3 12-week year goals, preferably SMART goals, but it's okay if they're smaller lag goals towards your moon goals, those quarterly goals. Then from those quarterly goals, I want you to set monthly priority goals that will act as milestones to get you to your quarterly goals. These 12-week year goals and monthly milestones are what I call your STAR goals. And these are actionable milestones to get you to your moon goal. Then you're going to break each monthly goal into lead actions that are SMART and will help you reach your 12-week year goals. These will become your weekly checklist and what I like to call your earth goals, because they're down to earth and tangible actions. These lead goals go into your weekly scorecard. If you want an efficient way to create and track your lag and lead goals, I have 2 resources you may want to consider. I have a 12-week year Notion template as well as a PDF 12-week year template for my paper ladies. They're both linked in the description if you want to check them out. Okay, but how do you make sure you actually do the things on this list? Next, I'll show you a new way of planning that makes getting things done so easy. Imagine you're on a long road trip. You've got a destination in mind, but halfway through your windshield starts to fog up. You haven't looked at the map in hours. You're still moving, but you're tense, you're swerving a little bit, you're second guessing every turn. That's what your week feels like without a review and reset. Weekly planning is your moment to pull over and to reset, to wipe the glass, check your route and ask, am I still heading in the right direction? So each review is a chance to course correct before it's too late. That's why I teach my students inside of Systemize Your Goals the habit of weekly review and weekly planning. So here's how to do it for yourself. Each week, review your 12-week year scorecard and your monthly priorities. If you want my exact process to review your weekly review, grab my free Getting Things Done weekly review checklist below. Then I teach my students also to use my BBB method to plan their week. So first, you're going to book your weekly non-negotiables from your digital calendar into your weekly plan and your paper planner. These are things like meetings, appointments, and your weekly routines that keep you and your family taken care of. Then you're going to batch your to-do items that day according to your batch days and your weekly plan and your paper planner. Then lastly, using your weekly plan, you're going to time block your days using the daily planning pages in your planner. And I use my 3-7 time blocking method to do this, which essentially breaks down your days into 3 blocks and 7 routines. You can check out that video I have on that if you want a full breakdown of the method. But the key is to schedule deep work in your AM block as much as possible to work on your lead goals. Specifically, when it comes to blocking, the book prescribes adding 3 crucial pieces to your schedule when time blocking. The book prescribes buffer blocks because we need to account for things taking longer than expected, and time to task switch. I usually add like 2 hours of buffer a day in my schedule. Here's how the authors of the 12-week year describe breakout blocks. One of the key factors contributing to performance plateaus is the absence of free time. So often, entrepreneurs and professionals get caught up in working longer and harder. This approach is an energy and enthusiasm killer. In order to achieve greater results, what's necessary is not more hours. On the contrary, it's more free time. A breakout block is a minimum 3-hour block of scheduled time that is devoid of any work-related activities and thoughts. It is time scheduled away from the business during normal business hours. This time is designed to refresh and reinvigorate so that when you return to work, you can effectively focus. They also talk about the third thing is strategic blocks. This is the time for deep work and getting into a flow state. A strategic block is a 3-hour block of uninterrupted time that is scheduled in advance. During these blocks, you accept no phone calls, no faxes, no emails, no visitors, no anything. You focus all your energies on the pre-planned items, the strategic and money-making activities. activities. Doing so concentrates your intellect and creativity and produces breakthrough results. You'll be astounded by the quantity and quality of the work you produce. But planning alone won't get you there. Now let's talk about the secret success strategy that ambitious women are using that guarantees their consistency and discipline towards their goals. Think of your favorite fitness coach. You could watch their videos for free, but people pay for coaching because they know accountability works. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems and support, according to James Clear. Which is why creating a system of accountability can be the secret sauce to your success. So here's a powerful research-backed breakdown from a study by the Association of Talent Development, which tracked the behavior of professionals and shows just how much accountability matters. If you simply decide on a goal, your chance of success is about 25%. If you plan when you'll take that action, that increases to 40%. Add a plan for how you'll act, now you're at 50%. Tell someone about your goal, that jumps to 65%. But when you set a specific accountability appointment with someone to check in, your success rate skyrockets to 95%. So if you have been struggling to follow through, the research is so clear. Accountability isn't just helpful, it's nearly everything. This is actually why I started my VIP accountability coaching earlier this year, where I worked hands-on with women every single week to help them systemize their goals and reach their goals faster. I will be opening up a few spots soon for one-to-one mentorship and accountability coaching, but heads up, the last time every single spot filled straight from the waitlist before I even had a chance to announce it publicly. So if you're even a little curious about working with me, hit that link in the description and get on the waitlist. Okay, and here's what the book recommends when it comes to accountability. The book recommends weekly check-ins with yourself and a coach or a group, to share your goals with someone who will ask about them, and to use your weekly scorecard to hold you accountable and track the percent of tasks completed. They also share that if you want to achieve your quarterly goals, be sure to aim for at least hitting 85% each week with your lead goals. Okay, now execution is one thing, but what do you do when your energy starts to dip, doubt starts to creep in as you're chasing your goals, and progress starts to get a little bit messy? Let's talk about that now. Here's what no one tells you. Success comes with an emotional roller coaster. So let me draw this out. On this line, we have optimism. And on this other line, we have time pursuing our goals. So at first, it starts with uninformed optimism. This is when you first start your goals, when you're buckled in and you're full of excitement, you're full of ambition. Everything feels possible because you kind of have this uninformed optimism. You don't know what it's going to take. But then comes the drop. And that second place here, we'll draw our second circle, is informed pessimism. This is where you're more aware of what it takes to reach this goal, and you're starting to question your decisions for going after this goal, and you're starting to experience some doubt. And then from there, you go another plunge. Let's get a circle here. Step 3. This is what is called the Valley of Despair. I'm going to put all of these so far in red because they're going down. So in this valley of despair, this is when you're really starting to feel hopeless and things are starting to feel like you'll never reach it because things have gotten so hard. And this is actually where most people quit. But if you stay on the ride, something actually shifts here. So then this actually starts to go up. We'll draw our fourth circle here. And this is actually called informed optimism. And we're going to highlight that in green because it's good. We're going up. Yay. In this informed optimism, you stop resisting the fear. You breathe through the turns. Slowly, you rise again into this informed optimism, wiser, steadier, and more grounded as you keep pushing through. And eventually, you coast to success. go up again with more push through. This is number 5 in our journey to goal getting. And then we'll call this success. And this is not my chart or framework. This is something that is in the book, but it's also part of like the stages of change. And there's a lot of research towards this. Again, we're going to put this in green because if you keep pushing through, you actually reach that success. So here's how to survive this roller coaster. Firstly, you have to expect resistance. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Along that way, you're going to use self-compassion. You're going to use mindfulness practice to maintain your joy as you hustle. I recommend to my clients to use my MAPS techniques to daily cultivate joy, which is daily doing acts of mindfulness, appreciation, pleasure, and self-care. Also, you're going to want to stay focused on committed action and not perfect feelings. One of my favorite therapy techniques is acceptance and commitment therapy, which teaches clients that instead of doing things to avoid difficult emotions and situations, we use tools to teach them to accept their emotions. And even in the face of difficult emotions or challenges, you still want to take action that are going to move you towards what's most important to you. So you're acting on committing to action and not your just feelings on a whim. And again, if you want to work with me directly to reach your goals 10 times faster, be sure to join the waitlist below. And if you're an entrepreneur looking for a way to get organized enough to even implement these strategies, watch my recent workshop called Productive Boss next, where I do a deep dive into strategies to help me get more organized and productive in your business. Cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.